nobody can see that was handed over to us to do something amazing. Take the gifts, man. Take the gifts. Take the gifts, man. And let the Most High work in you to do something you have never believed.
I ain't even impressed what you expect. You see this shit? Hold on, there's one West on my chest.
One West world. That's it.
Fucking street code, let a priest law. No stain, break dang with the leash off. I ain't nothing of this world, I need a respawn. I just know they wish that I would stop, but I keep going. These fringes on my calf like a tube sock. I used to stuff the loose ones in my shoebox. And we came a long way from the curbside. Now we looking from the top from a bird eye. And I can't leave my brother on the battlefield. Lord, let the hell rain, we gon' see who real. And you know they gon' hate when they see a plate. So imagine what they doing for $250,000. And we really the only ones going to war. You niggas just be talking like y'all won the war. I made love to this truth and there's no divorce. My Spanish mommy call me Poppy like a corner store. Let me show you how to do it. Said he living by the word, I think it's time he proved. I think you better use your head before you fucking lose it. And save the acting for the camera, this is not a movie. I pray to God I don't fall off. I ain't nothing like y'all. Niggas think they slime, cut their head off a python. Blame me for my outlook, never counted the lookouts. The world said I wasn't shit, but look how I turned out. Not so bad, huh? Why you mad, huh? We go hard, but go harder for the have-not. Listen, when that oil hit your leg, then you can't stop. Your feet better hit the ground running, this shit bedrock. Man, we tried to put him on, but he sleep. Waking up the people, that's the job for a priest. Hopped out the wheel, fringes swinging like a pendulum. You heard of the tribes, where the fuck you think they get it from? Look, I'm a soldier, get the order, then I get it done. Got some big shit to split the water, make these niggas run. Why you hurt? If I told the truth, then I showed you love. Let me prove it, wanna move right, let me show you how to do it. Let me show you how to do it. Said he living by the word, I think it's time he proved. I think you better use your head before you fucking lose it. And save the acting for the camera, this is not a movie.
Don't step over the line though. Everybody, anybody, it's up for everybody. And that's not, I got bigger fish to fry. I got people to say. I ain't even on a rap, so I already beat the rap shit.
Check me out, dog. Roll the window up, man. Water. Ain't no better, dog, really. The son of a king. I don't Balenciaga. I might just wear a collar. I might just wear the Pradas. But I'm thinking long term, so I might say the dollars. We ain't no better. I'm just being honest. I should've went to college, but I was thinking violence. It's a one West world. We the fucking loudest. Break it down, we break ground. We don't break no damn promise. Let's get active, dog. Don't tell me how you feel about it. These cats saying too much. They ain't learn enough. You maxed out the first quarter. I'm still warming up. These niggas tossing up a brick. They can't score with us. Who gon' come against us? On the Lord with us. Them niggas riding for you. Hope they rise till they crash. Put my name in your mouth, I put my belt to your ass. I ain't running no race, I just hope that I last. All them niggas you look up to, I consider them trash. Only time you seen a leader was in Wayne hand. Niggas will dap you, then pop you with the same hand. I'm a main player, I stick to the game plan. He don't really fuck with you, that's your main man. We them niggas came through and made your city hot. Yup, said he in the field, but he really not. I ain't casting no stone, I just let him rock. And that's the kind of story they gon' read about. But if it's war, it ain't no tapping out. Grip still heat, spit like a dragon mouth.
Shalom. Shalom, Israel. It's that time again. The I.S.U.P.K. under Commanding General YAHANNA presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover. That's right, the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026 in Houston, Texas. All Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans are commanded to observe the Lord's Passover. This will be the biggest Passover to date. You do not want to miss this. Fresh lamb, fresh wine, and bitter herbs as commanded by the Most High. Only $200 per person, ages 17 and up. The biggest event of the year. There is only one Passover, and it's under Commanding General YAHANNA. See you there, Israel. Shalom.
Nobody else there to compare to. Train for war, men of war, and warlike apparel. Prefer our leaders, can't get between us. Watch where you stepping.
I.S.U.P.K. presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026 in Houston, Texas. You do not want to miss this one, Israel. Shalom.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do. They're one west. They're one west. They're one west.
Hey, Shalom, Yahweh Bahashem Yahushai Brakatham to all the brothers, Yahweh Shamar Alatham Bahashem Yahushai to all the sisters. I'm Priest and Officer of 500 Barak Yala with the I.S.U.P.K, which stands for the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge. Started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. You understand? And every Friday evening, we teach you the Lashawan Qadash, which is the language you used to speak before coming on the slave ships, before you spoke Spanish, Creole, French, Portuguese, English, whatever the case is. You understand? And for the next 2 classes will be in English. After that, the other classes will be in French. As you know, we alternate 2 classes in English and 2 classes in French, right? We're about to do a quick review of last week's class and get into the lesson. If you have any questions or comments, you put it in the chat. Also, share the class everywhere. Our people need to know their true culture, their true identity. When I'm talking about our people, I'm talking about so-called Blacks, Latinos, and Native descendants of the slaves in the Americas, in the Caribbean, on their father's side. Why is it so important on the father's side? Why? Because as the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 18 says, which is in the Bible, as science says as well, you understand? And every culture on the planet knows, every nation on the planet knows that you are the seed of your father, right? And it's so important to know our true identity, because when an identity comes a culture, comes a moral code, you understand, a constitution, which we're the only people who literally does not have their constitution. As prophesied in the Bible, the Israelites would lose their heritage, would lose their culture, their language, their identity, their constitution, and adopt other nations' constitution, other nations' culture. And just like in the book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 30, it says, in the days of our captivity, we would go back to the Lord. We would go back to our ways. We'll go back and remember who we are. Let me, instead of paraphrasing, let me just pull that scripture real quick, and then let's get into the lesson. Again, bear with me 1 second, right? And again, any questions or comments, y'all put in the chat. Click on the sign in and sign out links in the class. If you want to be in the school, do your 90 days, get your Hebrew name. Let me share my screen real quick. This is the book of Baruch, chapter 2, verse 30, for it says, "For I know that they would not hear me. The Most High knew we were a people that would not listen, that would be disobedient at some point. Why? Because every parent know that their kids, you tell them not to do something, they're still going to do it. And as a good parent, you know how your kids act. You know that they're not going to listen to what you tell them to do or not to do. You're going to have to punish them. They're going to have to be reprimanded, which is what happened to us. Because it is a stiff-necked people, like any kid. We are a stiff-neck, meaning stubborn. We're hard-headed. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves, which is today in the land of our captivities, right? Wherever we are in the Caribbean islands, wherever we are in America, in Canada, in France, the UK, Central South America. Naomi Osaka is a Levite sister, so-called Haitian, that's born in Japan. We will remember who we are. We are the Israelites. Our language is Hebrew, or the Lashawan Qadash, which translates to holy tongue. You understand? We go back to our laws, statutes, and commandments, which is really our constitution. Loving one another, brotherhood, sisterhood, sleeping with a woman and never letting her go, taking care of our kids, being a father to the fatherless. You understand? So on and so forth, right? So we're going back to it. And again, just like every Friday night, the Lashawan Qadash is where we learn our language back, right? If y'all miss a couple of the previous classes, you could always rewatch them. Make sure you take notes. We're gonna get into a review of the previous lesson, and then today's lesson as well, right? So let's start with a review of the so-called preposition. What are the prepositions? Preposition is going to be a word, right? Or a character, which would be a word at the beginning of a word. You understand? If you remember what preposition is, right? So it would be placed at the beginning of a word for what? What is the purpose of it? The purpose of it would be, at the beginning of a noun specifically, to show the noun's relationship in the sentence, right? For example, the man on the platform. On would be the preposition, that would be in Hebrew, it would be put before the word, or the, right? Let me give you a few examples. For instance, let's go with ba. Let me see, ba. We're going to write the Hebrew character in Lashawan Qadash and in the Assyrian, right? Ba, which means in. We're going to couple it arataza. Arataza. Which is the word for earth, right? And again, just as a quick reminder, when you read ba like this and arataza from left to right, it's just for the pronunciation. Why? Because Hebrew, as you know, is read and written from right to left, which is really practical for us left-handed people. Ra taza, which means earth. So as we pray, right, just like in the Lord's Prayer, we say we want the will of the Lord to be done on earth or in earth as it is in heaven. To say in earth, we use the preposition ba and put it in front of arataza. So when we read the prayers and we say ba arataza, that will be in one word, the form of two words. The root word would be arataza, and the ba, which is helpful when you recognize the root word, you could tell whether it is one or two preposition, as well as a what you call it again, a possessive adjective as well. So how do you say in earth? You would say Salakia ba arataza. Ba arataza, which would translate to in earth. You understand? So that's one of the prepositions that we've seen, right? Remember, prepositions will always go before a noun, right? So there's the ba, which means in. Let me give you the sha again. Sha, which means pertain to, or it means which, whom, or pertaining to. So the sha, or the character for sha, which is which, whom, or pertaining to. Which, whom, or pertaining to. Okay. We have also the ma, two prepositions. The ma, which is, what is it again? Ma is from. Ma. Which is from. Why am I giving you these two? Because sometimes, again, you can have a word with two prepositions. And if you, so lucky, bear with me 1 second. And if you recall, right, which, whom, or pertaining to, ma would be from. Okay. The word for heavens is shamayam. Shamayam. Now you're going to see I'm writing the sha and the ma in red. Why? Because they would represent two prepositions to form one word. Shamayam. Shamayam. So like, let me try to do it better. Let's not slack. Shamayam, which is the word for heavens. You understand? Now, what do these two represent? We know that the word mayam is the word for water or waters. And heaven means pertaining to waters. What about the ma being another preposition? What does ma in Shamayam represent? Break down. Shamayam, Salakia, let me use a different color code. Shamayam is pertaining to waters, which is mayam. But mayam in itself, the root word is not a root word in itself, right? There is a root word within mayam, which is yam. Yam, which means, where's the other color? Yam is the word for seas or sea. And we know that ma is from, and yam is seas, which is how we get the word water. It means from seas. This is how we get mayam, the water from the seas. Shamayam pertain to waters. Why? Because as described in the Bible, the firmament was to separate the waters from below, which is the water that we drink, the water that we swim in, that we shower or whatnot, the waters from below, and the waters from above, which is the heavens, which is why you have a similar, you need similar equipment, whether you go dive or whether you go in space. It's like you need a ship, literally a ship to go on the waters. It's like you need a spaceship to go in the waters above. You understand? So that's why heavens, the Hebrew word for heavens is shamayam, meaning pertaining to waters. Mayam, which is from the sea, which is how we get the word waters. So, just a couple of examples on how we get, how we form certain words. Recognizing a root word will help you to determine whether there's one or multiple preposition as shown, right? Give you another quick example, and then we're going to move to the possessive adjectives. An example, then we move to possessive adjectives. So, example would be let's go with ayash, like mashamar ayash. First, let's put the preposition ha, which is the. Ha, which is the. Wa, which is and. Gonna have ayash, 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 which is man or husband, right? And you have asha, we were a bit closer for space. Ayash, asha, asha, you understand, which is woman, which you will serve as wife. Instead, if you're my woman, you're my wife, right? So now we have man, we have woman, we have two prepositions. We have ha, which is the, and we have wa, which is and. So how would you say the man in that case? Knowing that the preposition comes before the word or before the noun, you would say ha ayash, right? So ha-ayash would be the man. Now, how do you say and the woman, and how would you write it? Because to say it is one way, but how would you write it correctly? Because mind you now, ha-ayash is one word formed by two words. The ha, which is the preposition, and ayash, which is the root word for men. You understand? So, the man would be Salaki. Ha. Ayash. Let me space it out a little bit. Ha. Ha-ayash would be what? The man. Now, how do you say the woman? Because we know how to say the man. The man is ha-ayash. The woman would be ha-asha. But how do you say the man and the woman? Now, would the and be separate? As we've seen, the answer is, one second. The answer is no, because as we've seen, right, two prepositions could follow one another to form one word with the noun itself. So how you write the man and the woman? Ready, right here. Ha-ayash, which is the man, and the woman, the and the would go together. Wa ha asha. And this is how you would write the man and the woman. Let me write it in, let me see if I have space. No, that's fine for now. So that's how you would write the man and the woman. Understand? When it comes to two prepositions, they could still be following one another in that same word. Wa-ha-asha, which means and, wa-ha, the asha, woman. Right? So how you write the man and the woman? The man by itself right here. And the woman would be another word, but separate. You get me? Now I'm going to let y'all copy this real quick. We're going to go into the possessive adjectives for the review for that. And then we'll move on to today's lesson. Give me 1 second. So like here, so that should be enough time. Let's move on to the possessive adjectives. So preposition, which we call prefix because they come before the word pre. We're gonna move to the possessive adjectives, what we call suffix, which they come after the word, right? Well, I gave y'all the explanation already. But basically, the possessives or suffix would come or be placed after the noun itself. You understand? Let's go into a few examples. Let's go for, as we said, right, the man and the woman. Perfect example is for a sister, you know, or sisters. You know what? Let's go sisters, right? Let's say sisters, much polygamy, are sharing a man. How would you say their man? How would you say their man? Let's see, y'all. Some of y'all paid attention during last class. How would you say their man? Right? How would you say their man or their husband? Why? Because some sisters might be sharing their man. How would you say their man? How would you say their man? We know that man is Ayash. Ayash, which means man. How would you say their man? Man is Ayash. We need to know how to say their. How do you say their? There's two ways, right, to say their, to indicate the possessive. First and foremost is this. Is the ma, which would go at the end, meaning you would use, if you're writing in Assyrian, you would use the second character, right? Ma, meaning there. But that's masculine. You understand? That's the masculine. And then there's the na. Again. Na. In the Assyrian, we use the second character for na, which is also there, but feminine. Therefore, if you say, talking about sisters, right, and this is their husband, you know, you point out to a brother and say, this is their husband, the husband of these sisters, their husband or their man. How would you write it? It's simple. You would write it like this. Ayash. Na. Ayashna would indicate, the na would indicate the possessive. I'm talking about these sisters, and this is their man, this is their husband. Right? Equal. Ayashna is their man, which you would translate to their man, their husband. You understand why? Because sisters could share a man. Much polygamy. Now, how do you write it in the Hebrew? Yash. Na. This is how you write it in the Lashawan Qadash or the Hebrew. How do you write it in the Assyrian? Let me use a different color for the Assyrian. Give me 1 second. In the Assyrian, I'm going to use a different color, right? B. Yash. As you know, in the Assyrian, the na is the alternate character, right? Ayashna. Their man, their husband. Why? Because sisters can share a man. Much polygamy. There is no such thing as too much polygamy. You understand? Salakia. You could take this down. Then we'll go into a couple more examples of possessives. And then today's lesson, right? Also, make sure you like, share, subscribe. Learning our culture is more important than learning the culture of our oppressor. You understand? Give you a few seconds or a minute or so to copy this. And again, this is a review, meaning what? We covered that in the previous classes. So every class will do a review. And as a matter of fact, I did forget one thing is to practice the salute with y'all, which we'll do at the end of the class. If you tune into class, make sure you salute and you put your name in the class. You understand? In the chat, Salakia. So now, this is the example of possessives. We're going to go over 2 more examples and then let's go to the class, to the topic of the class today. If you're missing anything, put it in the chat. If, as you're watching the class, put in the chat if we could go over something that you missed. Or if you're missing the whole class, since we're online, just like every single class in every single zone, you could just rewatch the class when you have time, when you're not at your slavery. Who knows what you're doing? You better be doing something that prevents you from doing class that is not unrighteous. Meaning, don't use the excuse that you can't watch class because you were high. You're not supposed to get high. It's a sin. You understand? It's a sin to be a drug addict. It's a sin to smoke weed. So don't use that as an excuse to be, I was too high to watch class. The next thing you should do, if you're too high to watch class, you should stop smoking weed like that. You won't be high at all and you'll be able to watch class. You understand? So let's give the other example. So we went for Ayash. Now, his wife. How do you say his wife? You can say his wives as well, but we're not going to get into the plural today. We're going to save that probably for next or in a couple other classes. How do you say his wife? We know that wife is a sha. A sha. Which means, really, it means woman, but your woman is your wife. You understand? How do you say his wife or his woman? The word for his is, if I'm not mistaken, is it wa? It's like it. Yeah, the word for his would be wa at the end of the noun, right? Because possessive adjectives are placed at the end of the noun. So wa is his. Let me put that in red as a matter of fact. His. So how would you say his wife? You would say asha wa. Salakia. Sha. Wa. Which translates to his wife. Well, his woman. His woman would be his wife. You get me? How do you write that in the Hebrew? Wa. I mean, different colors for the Assyrian again. Slovakia. Wa, right? That's how you say his wife, his woman. Let me see if I can get you the plural. Even though we're trying to save it for another class. Bear with me 1 second. Y'all take notes at the same time. Yeah, let me keep the plural for next class because some plurals are irregular depending on the word. So I'm going to keep that plural for next time, right? So now, how would you say, well, my wife, right? How would you say my wife? Knowing that the possessive is at the end, all we have to change is the possessive, but how would you say my wife? Or my woman? It's pretty much the same, right? How would you say my? Say ya. You put the ya at the end, it would signify mine or mine. You understand? She is my woman. Ya asha ya. My woman. That's how you were saying. If I say your wife or your husband or your anything, your would be ka. The difference now is that just like we've seen with the ma and the na, when we look at there, ka is also one of the characters that changes when placed at the end of a word when you write in the Assyrian, which is really, again, the Assyrian is only useful if you read modern text. If you read ancient text, the Assyrian is really useless. Why? Because our texts are not written in Assyrian. The Assyrian characters were adopted only after through the Assyrian captivity. That's it. Before that, we did not have the Assyrian characters. You understand? So now, to say his woman, not his, Salakia, I mean your woman, you say ka at the end. Which would change if you write it in the Assyrian, right? So ashaka, which is your woman. This is how you write it. Should we go into, what time is it? I don't want to spend too much time on that. You know what? Let's go into the lesson. Again, every single class will do a quick review of some of the bases. You understand? And if any questions or comments, listen, put in chat all the questions you have. You could go over it, just like you raise your hand and ask questions in the English class, in the French, the Spanish, or Portuguese class. Do the same in the Lashawan Qadash classes. If you're not sure about something, you cannot make sure if you do not ask questions. You cannot get the answers that you need if you do not ask the questions, right? So let's get into today's topic, right? I do need to buy a new brush, a new eraser, Salakia. Make sure the board is wiped clean. So, Lord allow, what, next class? Yeah, I'm gonna clean the board for next class. You understand? So the lesson is what? As we see, our alphabet in the Lashawan Qadash, we don't have letters. What we have is characters, right? And as previously mentioned, each character, we have what's called a what's the word again? I think I forgot the English word for it, but our language, our alphabet is, the characters are pictographs, meaning they represent the image of something. They're based off the image of maybe it's an object, an action, or an animal. And each character is the first character of a word. This is how our alphabet was formed. So we're going to go into every single character and their symbolic meaning, which is the topic of the class today. The symbolic meaning of every character of our alphabet. And how do we get to that, right? So we're going to do let's do 3 at a time, yeah? We'll do 3 at a time. I think the last we got would be the last we gotta do probably the last 4 together. So we have A. We're not gonna focus on the Assyrian because it only pertains to our alphabet, not the Assyrian characters that we adopted. So I'm gonna go A, Ba, Ga. Yeah. Ba, Ga. Again, each character is the first character of a word, right? So A is the first character for I.S.U.P.K. I is the first character for I.S.U.P.K. Ba is the first character for Bayat. And Ga is the first character for Gamal. I have to put the connector right here. Salakia. Gamal. And I.S.U.P.K. would be representing a cow or the head of a bull. We're going to show you the drawing just now. So a cow. Bayat would be a house. And Gamal is the word for camel. We're going to show you the pictorial representation of each one of them, right? So the A is simple. It's in the shape of the head of a cow or a bull, which is pretty much the head of the herd, right? So luckily we have a comment in chat. Oh, never mind. So Allah, if you picture the head of a cow, you understand, or a bull, it has this shape. Now, if you put it sideways, right? That's what it's gonna look like. You understand? If you twist it sideways, That's what it should look like. You understand? This is how we got the Salakia for my poor drawing skills as well. So that's how we got the which is the first character of alap, which represents the head of a cow or a bull. You understand? Ba represents a house, or more so how you go into the house. And knowing our culture, really, we dwell a lot of times, we dwell in what's the precept again in Leviticus 23, the Feast of Booths, or the Feast of Tabernacle. A tabernacle is a house, or it was at the time when we're in the wilderness, a tent. So that's what it is. It represents going into a tent. I'm going to do this now. Damn. Let me see how I'm going to do this. Yeah, I'm trying to show you how with my poor drawing skills, yeah? Let me just put it like that. So basically, you see the shape of a house? Now, if you erase that side, right? From the side, you would have this shape, which I'm going to highlight in red. This is the ba of bayat, the word for house. And this is how we get the ba. You understand? This is how we got the ba, which is our second character in our alphabet. And then we have the ga, which is the word for camel is gamal, which is pretty much self-explanatory just by looking at it, which represents ga. It represents the hump of the camel. You understand? That's what ga represents. So you have alap, bayat, and gamal. Maybe I should write for you. How do you pronounce these? Alap, bayat, and gamal. I'm gonna do it better for the next characters. Take these down. And then we're going to move on to the next one. Let me go grab some water real quick. Okay. So take these down to give y'all a minute or so. Then move on to the next one. Now the next ones we got, where's the black marker? I think it's Tawab. If it's not, well, let me know. Do not just let me erase if you're still taking notes. The next one we got the da, the ha, and the wa. What did I just drop on the floor? So the da, the ha, and the wa. The da, yeah, let me do it like that, is the first character for the lat. Ha is for hana. And wa is for wawa. The lat, hana, and wawa. See what it means. So the lat is the word for door. Hana is more so an action. Like I said, it can represent an object. As you can see with Gamal, in a lat, it represents an animal or part of an animal, right? And the wa is for wawa, which is fish hook. You understand? Now, let me see a pictorial representation of each one of them. Well, as you look into a house, again, our houses or places of habitations were more so tents or booths. In how does the shape of a tent look like? It looks like this. The entrance of the tent would look like this. This is how we get the da, which is the first character of King David's name, which is what this represents. These are two das, one inverted over the other. This is how you write the signature of our King David. This is not a star. This is not a star of Molech. This is not the star of Remphin. This is not a 6-pointed star. These are two das. The character da, which you call the shape of a triangle, right? Which is this. Is two das, one inverted over the other. This is how you write King David's name, which is Dawada. This is how he decided to have his signature. His signet, his official signet. Any official document that was signed by the king, right, would have this imprint on it. Just like you see back in the days, they used to heat up some wax and have a ring with their signature. That would have been on King David's ring. You understand? It's not the seal of Solomon. This is King David's signature. King David, King Solomon, whose father is King David. You understand? So this is not a 6-pointed star. This is just two das, one inverted over the other. Right? Now, behold, this is more so an action. So I'm going to be horrible at drawing this. But imagine now someone trying to show you something, right? That's the best way I could draw it. Imagine someone, man. This is more so how we got the ha, right? And I am horrible at drawing. well, someone trying to show you something. If you want the Hebrew material as far as a printed version, which is going to be way better than me trying to draw anything, you understand? You could just reach out to us on ISUPK Montreal, ISUPK Toronto, ISUPK IET at gmail.com, and we'll send you the alphabet, a copy of the symbolic meaning of each character as well. You understand? But this is pretty much how we got every single character, right? Which is, if you get a copy of the a printed copy, it's going to be way better than me drawing on the board. I guarantee you that. So now, behold represents an action, and Wawa is a fishhook, not a modern day fishhook. If you draw a modern day fishhook, which is, you know, not so different, right? It's gonna look like this. Wawa is more so of a, I don't want to say primitive fishhook, but a fishhook of back in the days. But even then, with a modern day fishhook, you can see how we got the Wa, right? Just pretty much in a similar shape than a fishhook. Let me just redo this one. Salakia. Which is how we got the Wa, right? Just what it represents. Again, every character has a symbolic meaning. They are the first character of a word. The Da is the first character of the Lat, which is the word for door. Hana for behold. Wawa, Wa, which is the first character of Wawa for fishhook. So take these down so we can move on to the next one. And then we go over some vocabulary as well. Okay, let's move on to the next tree. So next in line, we'll have the Za, the Ka, and the Ta. Again, we're going over the basics. As we progress in these classes, it will get more, I don't want to say intricate, but more advanced, right? Get the Za, Ka, and Ta. The first character of Zayan, Ka, which is for Kawama. Ta, which is for Tana'a. Wait, that I didn't even write Zion correctly. Salakia. Zayan. Zayan Ka Wa Ma. And what I said, Tana'a. ta, na, a. So Zayan is the word for weapon. Kawama is more so like a fence. And Tana'a is a basket. Let me just highlight the characters. So Zayan, Kawama, Ta, Na'a. So now, the pictorial representation of each one of them, right? So Zayan represents a weapon. Some of the weapons that we had, it's not like today. Today a weapon is what? It's lucky. Today a weapon, you might picture a gun, a firearm, or United States. Listen, the white man's such a devil. You could see a weapon as anything today, right? One of the old school weapons is these. It's like a two-bladed like scythe, like the Reaper has, right? So it looks something like this. You understand? Which is in the shape of what you would see in the shape of what you would call a Z, right? This is the Za. Damn. I need more space. I need a bigger board. That's what I need. The Za. Right? So that's how we get Za from the word Zayan, which is a weapon. Now, Kawama, which is a fence. Let's see how to draw it. Okay, imagine a fence like this. So you see the fence, and if you put it sideways or upwards, it's gonna look like this, right? And now, mind you, it doesn't have to be exactly like what it represents, in a sense where you're drawing what Adam was drawing, what he was seeing as far as a weapon, a fence. He named it Zayan, and he named. So like, bear with me 1 second. So he named that after the object, the action or the animal. You understand? So that fence put sideways or upwards or vertically would look like that, like the character Ka from Kawama. Now Tana'a is easier to picture. The top is a basket view from above. Like you see the handle of a basket that would be crossed together. That's what the ta of Tana'a represents. So let's say you have a basket with the handles, right? So on the side, you may view it like this, but from above, you would see the basket, and like the shape of the X will be the handles of the basket crossed, right? So that's what Tana'a is. Tana'a is just a basket view from above. That's what it represents. That's how Adam came up with this, right? Let's go ahead, take these notes. We move on to the next one. Then we have ya, ka, and la. So we have 13 more. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Right. So the next one is going to be ya, ka, and la. Ya, ka, and la. And does the L, the letter L, looks like a la? Absolutely. Because every language originates from Hebrew. If y'all don't believe me, don't sweat, just Google it. You would see that even how the Greco-Roman alphabet was formed, the origins of it is what they will call Aramaic, which is really just a dialect of Hebrew. But you would see that the origins, Salakia, of it, it would go back to the Lashawan Qadash. That's why the K looks like a ka. The ma kind of looks like the M kind of looks like a ma. You understand? The A looks like a the B kind of looks like a ba. The la is literally, the L is literally a la, so on and so forth. Right? Over time, especially as different empire came about and ruled, they just took everything from us. So yad is the word for hand. Kap is the palm of your hand or palm of hand. And lamad means to learn. Is it learning or to instruct? It's a lot here. I'm not mistaken, it's also the verb to learn or learning. We're going to find out that a lot of Hebrew words, depending on the context, can have different meaning, right? So imagine now your arm shape. You understand? So that's your arm and your hand. Good night. I'm poor at this. This is how we got the ya, right? The kap, which is literally the lines in the palm of your hand. Yeah, I need to take some drawing class at this point. It's a lot. And lamad is more, you see how I'm using this marker to point at some stuff on the board. Lamad is more like a how do you say it? A baton or a stick to point at when teaching or instructing. You understand something? That's why it would look like a tool that you would use to point at, for instance, the board. Some of these tools have that shape, right? So the ya, the ka, and the, what did I say? The la. Take these notes. And then let's move on to the next ones. We should have time for the rest, which is just 10 more and some vocabulary. Okay, should have enough time. Give a few more seconds. All right, let's move on to the next ones. We have the ma, the na, and the sa. Ma, na, sa. Ma, which is the first character of mayam, which we know it means water of waters. Na is for Nawan, like my brother in Florida, Nawan Ya'ala. Sa is for Samak. You understand? Mayam. Nawan. Samak. So again, mayam is for water or waters. Nawan is a sprout, like a plant that's sprouting out of the ground. And samak is to establish. You're going to see how that makes sense. Establish. Now, mayam, nawan, samak. So, mayam is more so, you see the shape of, let's say, waves. You understand? This is the shape of water, right? Imagine the shape of waves and water. That's where we get the ma. Now, the one, imagine more so, you have to picture more like a plant sprouting out of the ground. So how I'm going to do this? Like a plant, good night. This is where we get the na and samak. How do you establish something with perfect example is with a flag. It's in the shape of a flag to show that you establish, for instance, the United States established what they claim is rulership or ownership of the moon by planting a flag. And that's how we get the sa for samak. Let's go ahead and write these down. Where's my water? Here we go. Let me give you a few more seconds. Okay. We're on to the I, the pa, and the taza. Let me just make sure it's written correctly. So I, ha, and taza. I, which is for ayan. Pa is for pa, with a ha at the end. Taza is for tazad. So ayan, ha, and tazad. So ayan is the word for eye, like your eye. Pa is for mouth. And tazai is like to be on the side. I'm going to show you just now. So ayan, self-explanatory, your eye, right? Like the iris of your eye, which is what you represent. Ayan. Ha. Let's see if I could draw a bit better now. Pa represents an open mouth. And imagine someone being laid on their side. How would I do this now? Let me see. Imagine someone being laid on their side, which is what tazah is, and that's how we got tazah. You understand? So, like it. To circle these. So the tazah, pa, I, the first character of these words. And that's we got I, pa, and tazad, and tazat, salakia. Now we have 4 more. We'll just do the 4 of them together. Going to be the qua, the ra, the sha, and the tha. Yes, our language is very what they would call barbaric, primitive, or whatnot. Not complicated like the languages today. It's very simple. And here's every character represents the image of something. An animal, an object, something related to an object, a body part like pa, I, yad, kap. You know, no one represent a plant. Mayam is waters. You understand? But there is nothing that doesn't make sense. Everything has a meaning. So take these down, and then we're going to move on to the last 4. And we should have time to look at some vocabulary. Again, the vocabulary, you could use it for the next class or the future classes in general, right? We may go over some verbs that we'll see in the future. We may go over some nouns or some everyday words that we may cover multiple times. Why? Because practice makes perfect. La pratique perfectionne. La práctica hace perfecta. You understand? I'm going to give you a few more seconds, and then we'll move on to the last 4. Okay, so the last 4 is qua, ra, sha, tha. Qua, ra, sha, tha. Qua is for quam, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. So quam, ra'ash, shan, and tha. Quam, Ra'ash, like Officer Ra'ash Karab in Chicago. Qua Ra-Shan, or Shan, Tha. Quam Ra Ash Shan Tha. Quam, which means to rise or rise. Ra'ash is head. Shan is teeth. And thought is like, it's like a mark, like a check mark, right? Let me put that in parentheses for you to understand. So what does Quam represent? It represents a sunrise. You understand? That's what it represents. Well, let me not do this like that. A sunrise from the horizon. You understand? The sun going up, that's how we get Kwa for Quam. Ra'ash is the head. Now how I'm gonna, boy. So let's see the shape of a head, right? The shape of a head with the neck or whatnot is crazy. Is how you get the Ra. You understand? Which is the word for head. Shan is literally a set of teeth. If you could picture some teeth in your mouth, this is how we get Sha for Shan. And thought, imagine like a map. No matter what the map is, you see something being marked on the map. So that's what a thought represents. You understand? That's going to be it for, that's today's lesson. That's going to be it for the significance or symbolic meaning of each character of our alphabet. So you could copy this, and then we're going to go into some vocabulary. The salute, which is a prayer, and we'll end the class there. Let me see any questions in the chat. I'm going to move out the way. Bear with me 1 second. No questions in the chat. No sweat. So y'all take notes, write these down, and let's move on to a bit of vocabulary before we end the class, and then the salute. As far as the vocabulary, we might do a mix of verbs and nouns. We'll see in a matter of seconds. So make sure you write these down. You understand? So like it for the background noise. Ruby is loud as hell. I know y'all could hear it. Matter of fact, we'll go for the word for Ruby. And I'm not talking about how do you call it? I'm not talking about the ruby, the precious stone. No. We'll get into the word of Ruby, meaning the Rottweiler. Ruby the Rottweiler. Right? Now, is there such a thing? Is there such a word for Rottweiler specifically in the Hebrew? I highly doubt it. I would say no. Why? Because Rottweiler were named after the German city of Rottweil, which is where they were found, right? But there is a word for dog, whether it's male dog or female dog, which I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all would appreciate knowing. Maybe not for the most rightful purpose, but that is not relevant so much. So now, pretty sure y'all had time to copy it. I'm gonna give you a few more seconds. Okay, so now let's get into some vocabulary, right? Which this time I will also write in the Assyrian. I will write in the Assyrian as well. So let's go for a mix of verbs and nouns. So what we said, we're gonna start with nouns. So we're gonna start with Ruby. Ruby, the Rottweiler. What is a Rottweiler? It's a dog. How do you say dog? Dog. The word would be kalab. How would you say female dog? Which, you know, in case some kids might be watching, because this is a kid-friendly class, female dog, which is the B word, right? Which I don't think I need to spell it for y'all. It'd be kalaba. Now, Ruby is a kalaba. Why? Because she's a female dog. You know. So kalaba, kalaba, and what else would I go with? Let's go with these two for now. Kalab and kalaba. Yeah? Now how would you write kalab? Write it in different colors just for y'all. Where's the blue one? Let me space it out a bit more. So kalab, kalab, kalaba. Give you a bonus. The a at the end of kalaba, the ha at the end of kalaba indicates the feminine of kalab, right? Kalaba, the root word is kalab. The ha at the end just indicates it's feminine, right? It's not going to always be like that, but you may encounter it a lot, where the ha, just like shar, which is prince, which we're going to see now, and shara, which is princess. Ka, la, ka, la, ba. So you have dog and female dog, which for whatever reason women like to call each other that and get offended when a man says it. This is funny as hell, but you get the point. Dog and female dog. You have dog and female dog. So now we have, this is not a masculine feminine class, but I'm gonna give you prince, princess, and two other, I go with king, prince, and princess. Now there's no such thing as a queen in the nation. We do have the word queen, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm gonna give y'all that. Whether we have queens in the nation, our sisters are princesses, that's why. So we have what I said, prince. We can go with king first, rank in order, right? We have the king, which is Yahawashi, who you call Jesus. The prince and princess. King is Malak. Prince is Shar. Princess is Shara. Again, the ha at the end indicates the feminine of it. Of Ma Lak. Shar. Let's say Shara. Shara. I'll put the green, the Assyrian, Malak, Shar, and Shara. Take these down. I'll put also the sign out link in the class, in the chat right now. So click on the sign in and sign out links. Couple more words and then we switch to what does it say, verbs. Okay. Again, write these down. You can memorize them, practice it. Okay, these are everyday words you might encounter, right? Let's go with. See, I have a list right here. Which one should I give y'all? Give me 1 second. Shabbat, which is rest, Salaki. So rest. Garden. And go with Eden. Rest, which you should know, is Shabbat. Garden is Gan. And Eden is Aidan. Some words we might see in other classes, just keep that in mind, right? So rest, where are the other markers? Which is the Sabbath, basically what you would call the Sabbath, Shabbat. Shabbat. Gan is garden. And Aidan, which is Eden. Shabbat. Oh, I said Gan. And Aidan. Shabbat, Gan, Aidan. What time is it? You can go over some verbs. Yeah, let's go over some verbs, yeah? Let's go over some verbs. And then we're going to end the class. Should we do 3 or 4 at a time? Basic verbs. So to open, to count, open, to count, to listen or to hear, and to love. Open is patak. Again, we're going to do a review of the previous class. So keep that in mind. The count is sapar. It's good to take notes, to memorize the stuff, and go back to your notes, go over your notes. To hear shamai, sha, ma'ai, and to love is ahab. Okay. Then we're going to go 4 more verbs. Patak. Select it. Make it right. Patak. I said Sapar. Sapar. Shamai. Shamai. And Ahab. Patak. Sapar. Sapar. Shamai. And Ahab. You understand? Should I do 3 or 4 more? Do 3 more. Write these down. Let's do 3 more. Now, the last 3 verbs we're going to see don't worry about conjugating the verbs. This is a totally different class, right? The last 3 verbs that we're going to go over is going to be to gather, as we are ordered to do, to gather together, to gather, to sanctify or set apart, sanctify or to set apart, which is what sanctifying means, to render holy. Holy comes from the Hebrew word Qadash. And to speak. To speak. So to gather is Qobataza, Qua. Bataza, sanctify or to render holy, to set apart is Qadash. To speak is Dabar. Captain Dabar Amath, Amath, which is truth. Captain Dabar Amath speaks the truth. You understand? If you hear Captain Dabar Amath, all he do is speak the truth. All he does is speak the truth, just like all the brothers in the UPK, all the men raised up under commanding General YAHANNA. So, Qobataza, 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 Qadash. And the bar. Qua, ba, za, qua, dash, da, bar. So write these down, and then we're going to end the class, read the security announcements, and we will be back next week. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, comment, push the algorithm. Click the sign in and sign out link in the chat. Do your 90 days. You understand? Get your Hebrew name. It is not time for you. It is high time to be in the truth. With all these events that are going on around the globe, you should see that these are signs that you should leave this society spiritually. Physically, you can't. It has a hold on the whole planet, right? But you should abandon everything you learned from this society. You should abandon all the ways you learn from this society, where there is, interracial marriage or sexual depravity, freedom of religion, your drug habits or whatnot. All these should be given up right now. You should abandon these and come back to the truth. It's going to be real important for you to come back to the truth like never before. You understand? So now we're going to go security announcements. We're going to end the class right here. The WADA, which means thank you to all brothers and sisters who tune into the class. We'll be back next Friday. Tomorrow we have our scripture breakdown in French, followed by Office 1000 Adiyar. With that said, I would say Shalom Yahweh Bahashim Yahshai Brakatham to all the brothers, and Yahweh Shamar Latham Bahashim Yahshai to all the sisters. Let's read the security announcements and close the class. This is the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. We are the I.S.U.P.K, the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commanding General YAHANNA. Rule for new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they're off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After the 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers chapter 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verse 8 to 10 means tenth in the Hebrew. Ma'ashara, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amounts you would like. Upcoming holy convocation, we have coming up the Feast of Purim, which is the 14th day and the 15th day of the 12th month, which falls on Monday, March 2nd, and Tuesday, March the 3rd, 2026. You can read more about it in the book of Esther, chapter 9, verse 20 to 31. Reminder to Alakim and Wa'akwathian, meaning brothers and sisters, to check the bulletin board in the hallway of their school if they have a physical location. And if any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, and scarf. With that said, we'll give a courtesy salute to the brothers and a courtesy salute to the sisters. Menavijal Imajim, which means to stand. We'll give a courtesy salute to the brothers. Menavijal Imajim Shabbat. Imajim Barak. Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai Brakatham. Meaning Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless y'all. Yad Jamata, which means hands down. Sar, which means to turn. Turn and face the sisters if you have any in your presence. We'll give them a courtesy salute as well. Menavijal Imajim Shabbat. Imajim Barak. Yahweh Shamar Alathan Bahashim Yahweh Shai. Meaning Yahweh, watch over y'all in the name of Yahweh Shai. Yad Jamata, meaning hands down, class dismissed.
Yeah. One West. I'm sorry, me need a break, I'm sorry. We work hard in a life, hustle every day and all in a night. Man a hunt for the goal and a dig it in a road and a live no life. I'm sorry, me need a break, I'm sorry. Right now me a seek time for myself and me a shell down some party. Me stressed, me a look for a recess. For me brain me a refresh. This a game me a reset. Move to the girl the inna the peach dress. The body a roll a she a the neatest. She nah no man, nah that a the weakness. So me the in her ears but not like a real pest. Nah, just a move with a vibe. Because we a pour the mood is alive. If you do 9 to 5 I know you a get rich, you do realize. I'm sorry, me need a break, I'm sorry. Right now we a pour kulu rump on NSC with Campari. That is it. Move to that girl, let the body tick. What is it? You know see me a talk loud the politics. Watch it twist. No one see no ratchet flick, no matic click. No negative energy or positive. One West I keep the peace and no magic trick. We a dance till in icon. We a groove, we a vibe. And no care, no fear right off. Make it home with your life. Me say, me no want see you leave yet. Me no want see you depressed. We a party for de-stress. We work hard in a life, hustle every day and all in a night. Man a hunt for the goal and I mash up the road and I live no life. I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Me stressed, me a look for a recess. For me brain me a refresh. This a game me a reset. Move to the girl the inna the peach dress. The body a roll a she a the neatest. She nah no man so that a the weakness. So me the inna it here that a no real test. Nah.
The I.S.U.P.K. presents the Lord's 57th Annual Passover, April 4th, 2026 in Houston, Texas. You do not want to miss this one, Israel. Shalom.
Hey, listen, brothers and sisters, man. If you like what you hear, hit the subscribe button, man. Subscribe to this channel. And also, please, go to isupk.com and pay your tithe. Drop me some cash so we can move around this planet like we need to, man, and do the things we need to do. Everyone well.